I am not a real estate expert, as you know, as regular listeners to the show. I'm a mortgage expert, but I thought I would bring something in to talk about the real estate arena. I'm going to talk with our third guest in studio today, kind of what's happening with the sellers, and hanging out with realtors a lot since I'm in mortgages. I pick up a little tips here and there, and so what I thought I'd bring in during Money Chat was to talk about the buyers. And I see a lot of challenges with buyers working on the financing end because I'm providing the mortgage, which is a big part of closing. But you have to get your offer accepted first before I can help you close on the loan with the mortgage. And the problem is just the lack of inventory out there. And I have clients that get a little frustrated with the multiple offer situation. And so I try to add to my toolbox by talking with my real estate professionals, all of the experts that I have in studio here on my show, The Money Hour, and pick up some tips that I can share with my clients. And so here's some things that I have heard can work really well in a multiple offer situation for any of you listening today that are buyers. So waiving inspection, basically when you go to purchase a home, unlike the appraisal, the lender is going to require that you have an appraisal. The appraisal is going to determine the actual value of the home, but not really any of the detailed condition of the home. Now, if there's something the appraiser can see with their eyes, like the roof obviously doesn't have 5 years remaining on it, they're going to call for a roof cert, or if they see dry rot, but they're not getting into the crawl space and doing all of the detailed work that your inspector would do. Personally, myself, I would never, ever, ever buy a home without an inspection. The problem is when you're in a multiple offer situation, and a lot of you might be dealing with multiple offers that have cash buyers, you want to make your offer as strong as possibly can. And so waiving inspection is a big thing that buyers are doing, and how they're doing that is they're doing it with a pre-inspection. So basically you're paying up front for the cost of your inspection. Now, yes, you have no guarantee that you're going to get the home. So in the shopping process, maybe you're putting in your budgeting for home process is a certain amount of inspections that you're going to do before you get an offer accepted, because you're going to get an offer accepted. You just have to keep trying and not give up. So how many times is that going to take? Just depends on the market and how strategic you are with putting your offer in. And so another suggestion is waiving financing. Now, you have to be really careful in waiving financing, which means that you know nothing's going to happen to your financing before this mortgage closes. I can tell you on the lending side, based on the information that you've provided to me today, that nothing's going to happen to your financing, at least when it comes to you as the client and us lending to you as the borrower. What you want to make sure is nothing is going to change before you close on the home. So if you're concerned about losing your job or something happening in your income changing, these are things that would devastate your financing. And if you remove your finance contingency, what that means is your earnest money is at risk and it would not be refunded. Now, what you can't control in removing your financing is the property. So you want to make sure that you have something in the contract to protect you in the property. And that would be condo, making sure the condo is going to be okay. And a big one, obviously, for the property is the actual appraisal. Now, what I've seen agents do is put an addendum into the contract that states that you are willing to pay over and above what the appraisal comes in at, up to a certain amount. Now, if the appraiser says the house is valued at $550,000, are you willing to pay $570,000? I don't know. Only you can decide that. But you, as a buyer, potential buyer of this home, you have a decision to make on whether or not you want to be more competitive in the offer situation. I'm just giving you some examples of things that you could do. So even though you offered, and your offer was accepted at $550,000, just so that there's no concerns about the appraised value, if you really think that you'd be willing to pay for $570,000, then you could say that you'll actually pay up to $20,000 over what your price is if the appraisal comes in under value. Another option is a home warranty. Now, a lot of you are getting a home warranty. They're really inexpensive to get a year home warranty, and I would never buy a house without one. I just think it's kind of cool to have that, and I would continue to update it, because you're always going to have things that come up on your home that you're going to pay for that home warranty. Almost guarantee that. But what a lot of people don't think about is get an extension, or maybe that's not the right word for it, but an addendum into the home warranty that you're actually going to ensure you're going to warrant the seller all the way until the time that the home closes. So that's pretty cool. What you're doing something is just unique and different than what maybe other buyers are doing. It really it's all about making your offer appealing to the seller so that they know during this inspection process, people are coming in and out of their homes or whatever the situation may be when they're moving things, that the warranty is going to cover them until they move out of the home. Now, also another creative thing that you can do is just let the seller know that they can leave whatever they want behind. Now, in a buyer's market, you're going to make sure the seller makes that place really, really clean. No garbage, nothing left behind. But let them leave everything. If they want to leave all their own old furniture, if they want to leave trash, who cares? Pay for somebody to come in, a minor amount, to come in and clean this stuff out. It's all about making it convenient for the seller. Why? Because you want them to choose your offer, and these little tiny things that can cost just a couple $100 here and there could make a huge difference and ultimately get you the home. And maybe you're getting the home for a little better price because of all these additional things that you're doing. Earnest money is a big one. Now, it used to be 1% to 3%. 1% was typical earnest money. 3% would be considered a good earnest money. I think that's kind of 3 to 5% right now. 3% might be typical earnest money, and a 5% considered a really good earnest money. Now, that is the maximum according to the MLS. Safe something is what they call it, to where they're not allowing the buyers or protecting their earnest money over 5%. But I promise you, if you come in with a 5% earnest money, you're going to stand out in a multiple offer situation, because really you're seeing more on the 3%. Now, your earnest money is protected within the contingencies that you have. So again, you just got to be really cautious when you're thinking of doing any waiving of financing contingency, that your earnest money is protected. Closing date. Go in there with a really strong closing date. Now, a lot of the industry on the lending side, I know the statistics say 30% of closings don't close, and there's a higher percentage that just don't close on time. So we're talking about 30% never even make it to closing. That's a whole nother money chat that I'll bring in and tell you why. It's really the representation that you choose. But higher percent of that just don't close on time, which is a big issue as well. Now, lenders in some arenas are taking 45 days to close. I say if a lender can't close within a 30-day calendar day, and they're not willing to guarantee that, find another lender. I guarantee my closings, $1,000 to my buyers if we don't close in 30 calendar days. Now, if you want to go in with a shorter closing than 30 days, that's totally fine. My team's getting them done in 2 and 3 week basis on a case-by-case basis, as long as you as a buyer is doing everything that's needed to get everything in to ensure that smooth closing. But I can tell you, you want to have at least $1,000 on a 30-day closing. And I promise you, if that's in your pre-approval letter, when the listing agent that's representing the seller is looking at that offer, they don't have to worry about that high percentage of the time that it's not going to close on time, because they know if there's $1,000 on the line, your lender is going to get the job done. Ask for credentials for your lender. If you're putting together a cover letter about you, why isn't your lender putting a cover letter about them? Find out what they're doing in the local economy. What are they participating in the real estate community? Unique things that can provide with that pre-approval letter to show that they're established. It'll make a huge help. And make sure your lender picks up the phone and gives the listing agent a call on your behalf to say how strong that you are and ready to go. So any questions on this? I wanted to share a couple more. There's just there's never enough time, but pick up the phone, give my show a call, 1-855-400-1150. Again, it's 1-855-400-1150. I will post this on my website as well at themoneyhour.com. Lots of great information that you can get to online. And coming up next in the Money Hour, our own King County Assessor, Lloyd Hara, here to share recent things happening at the assessor's office and your property taxes, right here on 1150 AM KKNW after this short break.